Global goals for noble souls, transforming our world to a better wonder to behold. No poverty, zero hunger, for the elderly or younger. Good health and well-being, good education, empowering women to become sensations. Clean water and sanitation, is it not the right of every nation? Economic growth, inclusive and sustained, through industry, innovation and infrastructure be gained. Reduce inequality for sure. Make cities and human settlements safe and secure. Take urgent actions to combat climate change. Conserve like below water, land, ensure we do not estrange. Justice for all, oh peaceful and empathetic nations. Let us all partner to achieve these goals and provide much needed salvation.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back. And thank you so much for joining. A very good morning, good evening, namaste, hola, bonjour, g'day mate, terve, and marapan. This is Namya Joshi, your host for the day. Welcome to episode 117 of the podcast Each One Teach 10, an amazing world of STEM. An inspiring venture where we'll be discussing that STEM is a part of every day for every kid. We all will learn together how to build a STEM culture. Well, today I'm extremely honored to welcome a remarkable leader who has dedicated his career to transforming education globally, Mr. Anthony Salcito, a general manager at Coursera. He's led global education across regions, driving growth and impact through innovation and technology. His career has spanned cloud, AI, productivity, and gaming offerings, and an always deep commitment to helping educators, leaders, and students to succeed in classroom and beyond. He's worked closely with governments and education systems around the world to shape policies and projects that make learning more inclusive and future ready. He's also been recognized with numerous rewards and awards, including Association of American Publishers Visionary Award and being listed among tech and learning's most influential people in Edtech. Anthony, welcome to the podcast. It's a big pleasure for me to have you with us today. So, how have you been?
It's good to see you. And things are going well. It's always a pleasure when I get a chance to talk to great people like you.
Thank you so much. It's an honor for me to have you here. So, how's the weather been like today for you?
It's actually, this is just a virtual background, but the sky here is fairly similar, and it's a little windy, but it's a beautiful day today.
That's great to know. For me, it's getting colder day by day because I'm in Finland. I'm studying
Yes.
for my first year's bachelor's in ICT. So we're expecting snow soon because it's not been sunny for about 2 weeks. So me being a heliophile, it's tough to see it rain. Yes, I will. Thank you so much. Right. So coming to my first question for you, you've led global education teams and achieved amazing growth across such diverse regions, all while keeping people and purpose at the heart of it. So, what leadership principles have guided you in scaling impact across so many parts of the world?
Well, I mean, there's lots of books written on leadership. I haven't read many of them, frankly. I do it based on sort of an empathy and kindness for the people that I serve, both the schools, universities, customers, but primarily the people that I support. I think the fundamental definition of a leader is you have followers, and followers follow because they believe in the vision that a leader is setting. They believe in the authenticity of the leader to not only deliver on their promise and vision, but help everyone to a new, better place. And that's something that I try to do with the people on my team, both setting clear goals, but also keeping people energy high. One of the things that I think is struggling, and when you work for large corporations, public-owned corporations that are demanding growth for shareholders, sometimes the pressure on that is intense. And so you have to always find joy in the work. There's a lot of people who will tell you, do what you love. And I think very few people are lucky enough to do that on the planet. But I will tell you, what everyone can do is love what they do and bring joy to your work, no matter what it is. And that joy can come from engaging with people, tackling a tough challenge and problem, and recognizing that stress is frankly another joy in life. That sometimes you could be bored and not having any impact on anything, but when you face stress, it's a challenge. It's an opportunity for you to step up. I know sometimes we get challenges playing video games or competitive sports or what have you. That same thing happens in business. So find the joy everywhere and make sure that it's always about people. One of the things I do know is that all of us will look back in our careers, and the thing that will be the thing that we reflect on is not the double-digit growth that we brought to a company or shareholders, but it's the impact that you've had on the teams that you've influenced, worked on, or led. And that's certainly been my focus as a leader.
That indeed is really inspirational to hear. And that's a really powerful reflection, I must say. Like, you've connected leadership with empathy and authenticity, and the idea of leading with kindness and finding joy in what you do, not just loving what you do, but of course, turning those challenges into opportunities is such a refreshing perspective. And not everybody is able to understand that so soon. And it's clear that your focus in helping others move to a better place and keeping the energy high has really shaped the impact you've created globally. And I feel the audience listening to should relate and would relate to that. That if you're able to, shape someone's journey by giving just a bit to it, would really help you to feel that, yes, I've been able to make a mark. And the career has not been just about achievement, it's about spreading those ripples of change ahead, and it keeps on continuing.
Yeah, and that's something that I've learned. And actually, in many ways, giving back and being connected to supporting others is how I've grown my career. I spent a lot of time at Microsoft. And my early days in Microsoft, I was really responsible for supporting executives when they came to New York City. I was living in New York City, going to school and university in New York City, but hired by Microsoft because they were looking for someone sort of in a marketing kind of role, which was undefined at the time. The company was very, very young. This was more than 30 years ago, actually. So this is a long time ago. And I didn't know a lot about business, but I was working at Microsoft to build that side of my career as I was going to school for communications. And I had the pleasure of working with and supporting executives like Bill Gates and other senior executives at Microsoft. But as I started to get more comfortable and took more ownership, I would give ideas. I would share, hey, I'd like to try to use our facilities to support user groups and other things like that. And as I would float ideas, I found that the senior leaders, no matter how high or position, how much things they were doing, they always invested in folks who were committed and passionate and had something that they would bring to the table. I think in many ways you're for that. And I look for that now with the teams that I work with, that I want people who are going to take something that they're super passionate about and find a solution or deliver an impact. When I was very young in my career, senior leaders invested. I'd throw out a project idea and then here's some budget to go make that work. And then as I started getting more and more confident in my work at Microsoft, I would actually put agenda items for things like visiting nonprofit organizations, working directly with students. And not only was not, I think, inspiring for the executives, but it really brought me connected to schools and the opportunity that we saw to really enrich students and help them realize their potential for the future. And that certainly took me on the path to working globally across the world of education and really being someone who fundamentally is inspired by the amazing work that teachers in classrooms all around the world are often doing, often unrecognized, often under-celebrated. Those folks in classrooms today are the people that I admire most, and certainly one of the things that fuels the work that I do.
Absolutely, and that's the part of paying it forward and paving the way for others. Because if someone did it for you, so you have to do it for the rest of them. And again, it's all about the ripple reaction and the chain reaction. And thank you so much for sharing that. It was really insightful, and especially about empowering teams and building that trust. It shows that its leadership is more not just leading, but more about listening to other people and valuing them. So, in your experience, how do productivity tools help encourage deeper engagement and more personalized learning for students?
Well, if you go through human history, productivity tools were often about communication, ability to share your point of view, share your experience of the world with others. And certainly we're dealing with very, very modern, very, very capable productivity tools now, but the fundamental purpose remains. It's about expression, creativity, communicating your vision, and the work that you do with productivity tools is all about that. It's a packaging an idea, it's delivering a piece of art or expression of yourself or the world, and that's something that has been enabled by things that I think have helped all of that work be much more valuable. The ability to dynamically collaborate across teams, which is something that we take for granted, but certainly I've grown up from the very, very early days of technology. The ability for us to share ideas dynamically and asynchronously has been a tremendous advantage that we've seen with productivity tool gains. Obviously, the power and flexibility of capabilities, the quality of what you can do is amazing. But also the learner curve has gotten better as well. In some cases not. I think we've added complexity where it doesn't need to be, and sort of remove the elegance of the user simplicity as a value. But it's really about really taking advantage of that ability to connect and share ideas, which is certainly amazing. And the thing I love about sort of the current generation of productivity, and I'm going to try not to overuse AI, but fundamentally, the presence of artificial intelligence is actually removing barriers for creativity and expression. I know a lot of people worry about generative AI as it relates to reducing our ability to communicate and express ourselves. And I actually feel the opposite. Not only because I have so much more freedom in terms of what I can think to create and to achieve, but I can actually have a fundamental refinement of areas of focus with just quantity that I couldn't do before. Many students struggle with that blank cursor staring in the face as they start papers and projects, etc. But I can just start my ideas and actually work, and it helps me navigate my creativity. So I think the productivity powered with AI is certainly a huge win for the future of creativity and expression, and we just have to use it in the right way.
Absolutely, that's really well said, and that's a very thoughtful perspective. And I really appreciate like how you trace the evolution of productivity tools, like from simply being about communication, so now it enabling creativity, collaboration, and truest form of expression. And it's fascinating to see like how these tools are no longer just helping us to share ideas, but also shape them. And what you said about AI really stood out because it's something I believe too, and I agree with your perspective that it's breaking down so many traditional barriers and giving students and teachers the space to experiment, to learn faster, and to really express themselves more authentically. the idea that technology is helping learners is not just to do more, but to be more creative and refine their skills in ways that weren't, of course, possible before because we had to start from scratch. But now it's helping us to form the base work. The ideas have to be ours, and that is the part of it where the
Absolutely.
creativity has to come out. And people just think that, okay, it's killing the creativity. However, I feel that your perspective is absolutely right. That is the point. It's giving you the power to actually be creative. Some you don't have to like sideline that point, and
Yeah,
it really means. Yep, go ahead.
no, I agree. I think completely you're right. I mean, fundamentally, one of the things is sort of the ability to pivot. I know someone excited about Excel pivot tables like me understands the sort of the power of pivot. AI is doing that. I worked with a large textbook publisher supporting K through 12, and public textbooks are often written by one or two people, often with a very linear sequence of learning goals and objectives. And they're often written by people who have a specific perspective just on terms of where they live in the world and how they experienced history based on race, gender, a wide range of things. I can get now with what I couldn't do throughout human history is get pivot ideas. I say, this is one perspective. I'm uploading this PDF on this issue. I'd like to see it presented from the form of the person written about. I'd like to understand this from this cultural perspective and this dynamic in place. I'd like to understand this moment in history. How would these decisions be made differently in today's date? I can do all of that now in AI and get really insightful perspective that I couldn't get from a linear textbook. Or
Absolutely.
really, and so there's a tremendous amount of pivot. The same thing for a teacher who's working on a lesson plan to turn that into an interactive game, to turn a poem into a rap or to a one-act play. I can have the ability to actually change dimensions very quickly to deepen my creative output, as well as how I think about the limitations of what I'm dealing with in a different way. And that's something that I think is amazingly exciting. And I want learners who are really thinking that way, sort of unleashed, to start thinking about how they can unleash that capability, that thinking, to solve some of the challenges that we face. And throughout human history, there's always been people who've been brave enough to challenge preconceived notions, to apply their thinking and grunt effort to solve a problem that other people thought unsolvable. And I imagine with the power of AI behind learners who really embrace it that way, there will be tremendous advancements against previously unsolvable problems that the world has been facing.
True, and that's how we move from convergent thinking to a divergent thinking, and from a fixed mindset to a growth mindset. That was
Absolutely.
really, really well said. Thank you so much. So, moving ahead, that makes me think of something bigger, like how these same tools and approaches are really preparing us for the future because the world of work is changing really fast. So, from
Yes.
your global experience, what do you say as the biggest challenges and opportunities in preparing today's learners for the future of work?
Well, the first thing I think is we're going to always be constantly reskilling. Skills are the new currency in the workplace because you're going to need to embrace new approaches. Technology may not necessarily displace a job, but it will change a job for sure. And so there's a need to really build that foundation of how are you skilling and reskilling. There's never any end to that. You'll always be learning and you'll always be picking up new skills in the new world of work. The other thing I will tell you is the presence of AI as a sort of a force for negativity for workers is real. People see stories every day about companies laying off employees because of the efficiencies gained with AI. Frankly, that is sometimes overstated. Many of these companies are actually doing right sizing in their balance sheet and maybe putting AI as part of the easy to use excuse for normal consolidation and reconstructing to save money and improve profitability. And it's easy to sort of put it all the presence of AI. I would argue that many of those changes haven't really been met to justify those resignations. I think most corporations are dealing with extra fluff sort of in their balance sheet that they're trying to remove without an easy scapegoat with AI there. But fundamentally, there will be displacement, and displacement is going to be real. And it's been true throughout human history that with the emergence of a new technology or a new sort of technology paradigm, there has been implications in previously valuable and growing industry. And what's happened throughout human history is that those technology advancements have often fostered far more and bigger and more valuable industries in their wake. And that's certainly something that I think we should expect with AI. It's easy at this time to see the negative with regards to the workforce implications, but I actually think the opposite will be something that we'll see apparent in the next decade or so, where you're starting to see, whoa, there are new capabilities and careers that we couldn't believe existed before. You have people who are in jobs today that didn't exist a decade ago, and we don't really understand or appreciate that dynamic. That has been true with technology in the past, and certainly we should expect it to be true in the future. But I would imagine what an employer with an organization well powered by technologies, including AI, are going to expect their workers to be far more self-sufficient, far more scaled in terms of their ability to think differently and to impact differently across an organization. And most importantly, value the human capabilities that individual workers bring to an organization. So your compassion, your leadership, your ability to inspire others, your ability to collaborate effectively, these long valued skills, frankly, are in many ways the things that will define organizational health and growth in the future. And that's why skilling is so important, because you want people who are always learning, always adapting, and always picking up new skills to inform the opportunity in the company, but also with their teams directly. But I would imagine throughout human history, and certainly in a world, certainly an industrial world, humanity was actually less important. So we kind of are almost thinking differently in many ways, the wrong way with AI. AI forces us to differentiate with our humanity, because I think it's Sam Altman said is that jobs that are screen dependent will become less valuable because AI will automate that. The same thing was happening with factories, where, hey, we can get robots to automate the factory floor, and what happens is there's a need for skilling and a need for humanity that follows in the wake. And that's certainly going to be true in an AI world. And that's something that many people who have been excited about the AI recognize that the human pieces are going to be more important. And I frankly saw this from someone working in education during the height of the pandemic. For decades, I have believed the power of technology was to support educators and students in ways that have nothing to do with the technology. I would often say the best school on the planet would be the one with no computers, but completely digital, meaning that once you left the human connection, everything was being supported thoughtfully. But the school didn't necessarily have to have computers, but you would have a computer the minute you left the classroom or left the school building to inform your learning, to enrich the conversation with peers, et cetera. In many ways, we're putting technology in front of that human connection in the classroom. And we saw this play out in the pandemic when the world went online for learning. And the thing that mattered most to every student and every educator was the human connection. We didn't want to rush back to classrooms so we could have our desks and our blackboards and our lunch cafeteria food. We rushed and wanted to go back to school because we wanted the connection that we all had together. We wanted to be with our peers and to be with our teachers. And that's the thing that's happening inside businesses, and certainly will be more important in the world of AI.
Absolutely. That really shows an important point, and the part of human connection that's really important. And of course, the idea of work isn't, like you said, the jobs disappearing, but them evolving through constant reskilling and new ways of thinking.
Absolutely.
And I really like how you framed AI not as a threat, but instead as a catalyst for creating new industries, new roles, and the new kinds of values. And you're absolutely right, the real challenge and opportunity is in helping people see learning as something that's continuous, not confined to a classroom or a degree. And as you said, employers will consistently look for those distinctly human strengths like compassion, leadership, collaboration, communication, creativity, problem solving, and many more. The qualities which, of course, no machine can replace for us. And like you said, it's all about the point of valuing human connections and, of course, reassuring and forward looking ways to think about how technology and humanity can grow together. And I usually hear people thinking about, like, okay, if I'm getting AI to do the work for me, and how do I get like plagiarism checkers to pass it or something? And people try to neglect the fact that if they're using AI, it doesn't have to be totally using it like to get the work done for you. You have to add your human element, because if you don't do that and you forget it, then there'll be no difference between you and the chatbot that's doing the work for you. So
Absolutely.
not forgetting that you are the person who has to make the work done, to get the creativity in, and to structure the prompt well while using artificial intelligence tools is necessary. So thank you for throwing light on that. Right. So, and clearly, talking about your work has made a really huge impact. And you've been recognized with awards like the Visionary Award for your
Yeah.
contribution to education and innovation. So, what do these recognitions mean to you personally? And how do they reflect your mission in education?
Well, certainly, it's always nice to be recognized by your peers, by organizations, et cetera. All of that is valuable, et cetera. But the thing that always is most meaningful is the people that you touched. Having an employee that you supported or worked with, giving you positive feedback, or sharing that you were helpful in them in terms of solving a problem, or even in their career, having a profound impact on their career. That's the thing that means the most to me. I also have had the great privilege in the work that I get a chance to do the same for students and educators. And when I admire teachers as superheroes and really have seen it with my own eyes, the incredible people that are in our classrooms in all phases, higher education, certainly in K through 12 education. When you're admired by those people, it means a lot, because these are the people that I look up to as heroes, and have the ability to see what they're doing in the classroom and then say, wow, something that I've done made a difference, or help them think differently, or a technology that I exposed them to was valuable in terms of solving a problem or engaging with their students. That's tremendously fulfilling. And I think that's going to be true for all of us. You're not going to look back on the work. You're going to look back on the people that you worked with. And that's something that is absolutely true for me, and the thing that gets the most value. So milestone recognitions are important, but they're the ones that are most important are the ones that come from your peers, because they feel you've made a difference to them, versus the sum of your work. And I think that's where you see that true with celebrities getting awards. They always prefer the awards that are coming from fans, that mean more, because it's an expression of love from the people that they've impacted. The same thing I think is true when you're getting a recognition in your job. Often that good job from a boss or a colleague, or a praise from someone, is far more impactful than any formal award or even monetary award as you go forward.
Absolutely, I totally relate and agree with that. And it's a really beautiful way to look at it, honestly, because you you connect recognitions not to achievements or milestones, but to the people whose lives you've touched along the way. And it's meaningful when you realize that the real legacy isn't just the work itself, it's the impact that you are able to have on other people, especially the teachers and students who you've inspired or supported through your journey. And the idea of measuring success by the lives you've influenced is really something that captures the heart of education. And it's a reminder that behind any innovation or initiative, there are real people whose stories continue that ripple of change, and it keeps on moving forward. So, of course, These are reminders that you're on the right path and you have to keep on giving back to society, which has done a lot for you in the beginning and throughout your journey.
And I'd also say there's always a good idea to, when you're working in a company, to get aligned to the company's mission, regardless of what it is, and understand how it impacts humans, others around the world positively. So the last company I was with, we actually had a Slack channel called Good News. And it was all from feedback from our users, teachers, parents, students, reflecting on how what we were providing was changing their lives, helping them get a good grade, what have you. And as a standard practice, I would log in to my, the first thing I did before I started my day was review that channel, to read feedback, to hear things, etc., to inspire me for the day, to get grounded in everything else I was about to do that day was focused on achieving that. And if you work for a car manufacturer, you work in a grocery store, start by thinking about what the work that you do, in how it impacts others in a positive way, and then go about your day, because you need to be reinforced on the mission. And the mission is not just when you are a doctor or you're working in a nonprofit or you're working with Edtech, etc. It's in every field. Every business exists to serve and support humans. And fundamentally, to reconnect that will help you not only be more grounded to the work that you do, but you will enjoy and feel prouder about the work that you do when you do that. So find ways to do that consistently in your day, and that will, I think, make a difference, and certainly has made a difference for me.
Absolutely. And it'll be reason for you to smile and, of course, promote a better and positive aura around you so that you have a livelier workspace where everybody's working towards a common goal. Thank you so much. Right. So there's a fun question that I have to ask you. What is your go-to vacation place?
Wow, it's a great question to answer. As someone, I travel all the time, so my go-to vacation place is often in my backyard. Because when I'm home and not on the road, it's the place that is great. So actually being at home with friends and family, is probably the thing that I enjoy most, and sort of I see as a gift, because I'm often on the road and traveling, which I certainly understand and love to do, but it's there. But as someone who's been to about 80 countries around the world, I still feel like I've seen nothing, because most of the time I'm seeing a hotel or a school or university, and not having a chance to explore places. So I've always loved and appreciated going to cities that not only were safe to walk around, but also had nightlife and activity. So for me, my favorite place to visit has always been Japan, because when I would always go to a meeting in a hotel, I can always explore, and there's always life and activity, super dense, and I felt great about it. I also love video games and anime and things like that, so it was always a great place to visit. So I enjoy visiting Japan, but my favorite place, frankly, is my backyard.
That's so great to know, and it shows that you find solace at your home, in your backyard. But then talking about Japan, it's really on my to-go-to place because I've seen a lot of vlogs and they look really good, especially the technology and the different ways they have structured the city. It's really amazing. However, a go-to vacation place that I really want to add is Rovaniemi. It's Lapland in Finland, where we have Santa's workshop. So it's going to be really crowded right now, but maybe in February, because
Well,
you
yeah,
get to actually visit Santa and take a picture with him. Of course.
that's great.
Right. Thank you so much for sharing that. And moving ahead to my next question for you. So, and since like this podcast is inspiring young people and educators to make a difference through technology and creativity, what advice would you give to young leaders who want to create change in education using technology?
Wow. So we need you, frankly. The world needs leaders thinking through how to apply technology to make a difference, and certainly keep going with that. Always think about using technology responsibly, and certainly thinking about the impact you can have positively on others when you do put something in the world. The thing that I think is going to happen is there's going to be certainly lots and lots of technology trends. Certainly quantum computing is going to change, frankly, everything we know about technology as it relates to things like security, cybersecurity, for sure. Thinking differently about healthcare and think about sort of diseases that we're searching for cures. The power and potential of quantum scale is going to help really think differently there, and many other areas in terms of technology usage. So I know if I was starting my path in technology today, I would think about the impact on quantum, because this has been something that physicists and computer scientists have been dreaming of for, frankly, decades. And it's becoming, with compute power scaling quickly and chip size and the need for cooling containers, things like that, reducing. There's going to be tremendous popularization of quantum, which will expand compute power significantly, and that will, I think, be a new wave to ride. One of the things about technology is you need to be ahead of the trend in many ways. We're certainly seeing huge thrusts on AI. I know we went from sort of building GPTs with LLMs that are available to agentic work. That's sort of now the popular phrase going forward, to doing agentic work with LLMs, to doing RAG, or retrieval augmented generation, to pull in multiple data sources inside of organizations, to learn faster based on a knowledge path that you own versus just relying on LLMs. These are things that we're dealing with right now, and certainly new businesses can be curated on all of those technology trends. But look, if you're starting a business now, you're thinking about it, getting ahead of a new trend is how you really scale a business. And that's something that the companies that are leading in AI right now did. They were ahead of others that are now following and struggling. Because by the time those companies start, there's tremendous competitive challenge in the market. So always think ahead of where technology is going to apply your insight and think about how you can solve problems and deliver value to the world.
Thank you so much for sharing that, Rich. Really well said. And your message is a great reminder for young leaders everywhere that real change comes from combining curiosity with responsibility and from understanding the human side of every technological breakthrough. Thank you so much, Anthony, for being on the podcast. It was an honor to have you here today.
It was my pleasure. I built your ability to capture or rephrase my points has been great. I almost wish I just used your words in the first place, frankly. So thank you so much. It's great to talk to you, and it was my pleasure to be with you.
Thank you so much. That means a lot. And thank everyone for joining and listening to this episode. I'll see you in the next one. Till then, each one teach 10. Have a nice day.